so really quick, Technique Tuesday, we're going to look at two combination. Traditionally, this is taught, most schools at least that I know do this off of a straight punch. When I was a little kid, every combination that we did was off of a straight punch. Something else you'll see with this technique typically is there's sort of a box step type movement, and I've never done that. My instructor had us start out of a fighting position actually. We're going to start out of a neutral position. We're going to look at the way that we currently do the technique, and then we're going to look at another possibility based on some of the other applications that we've been exploring recently. So he's going to throw a roundhouse punch, which by the way is the more practical application for this. If he's throwing a straight punch, I don't want to try to step to the inside and really perform the movements that we're doing in this technique, because I'm stepping right into that other hand. And you know that hand is coming. There's a high probability he's coming at me with that hand. I know there's another attack coming. It might be a knee, it might be a kick, but it's probably that hand. So he's going to do a roundhouse punch, and I'm going to step in and cripple his arm. But I'm not, you can just freeze, I'm not striking it this way because I don't want to accelerate that follow-up attack towards me any quicker than necessary. Okay, but I am aware I might have to deal with that. So again, he throws his punch, and I'm crippling it at a downward angle, and then I'm going to catch him with a back fist. One thing I'll point out, the strategy that we're employing here is one in which this circle can be contracted. If we expand a move, we get an offense. If we contract it, we get a defense. So if that hand is coming at me, now this is here, I can punch him, and I can move into shielding hammer, which we did a couple weeks back for our Technique Tuesday. If I'm quick enough, I might be able to hit him, and if that hand's coming, I might be able to pick it up just along the way. Okay, so understand that's there, and you can actually work on grafting the two techniques together if you remember the previous one. Okay, so let's finish this up. He throws his punch. I back fist, and now I'm going to catch him with an elbow. This is not the traditional version of the technique. Like I said, there's a box step, an inward block. A lot of people do a back punch, and then you have the elbow. It's not the traditional version. Have I made it clear? Very. Okay, all right, I just want to make sure you know. So, again, I'm stepping, I'm crippling the arm. By the way, I could be stepping in and getting kind of a leg check here at the same time. Back fist, this collapses, I catch him with the elbow. That's the basic version. Grab a partner, let's do it, then we're going to explore some other things, and then I promised you guys we're going to do some weapons tonight, so we got to move quick. Go. A couple of other things. One thing I forgot to point out, do your punch. So when I first learned this, we actually would shuffle in and out, but that movement seems a little constipated. It's a little slow. We want to have a more explosive movement. So I know you guys are stuck on the word constipated, but we're past it now, okay? We're moving on. So that I just want you to be aware that that's how I was taught and how a lot of people execute this technique. And you can try it. You can see if it's something you like. I think that you'll find you can get more power, more explosion out of using a push drag rather than a drag step. Second thing, there is an extension to this technique, or an ending to this technique, where you end up moving in and sweeping out that leg, and we're not going near that. We're leaving it at the elbow. I do not like the sweeping the leg in the way it's performed in this technique. I don't think it's practical. Very often you're putting yourself in a compromised position to do it, so we're leaving it alone. Lastly, one other thing that we typically do is have him switch feet and punch like this, because there's no law that says every time somebody comes at you with a roundhouse punch, they're stepping in. That's our secret handshake. Now we need to get a new one. Yeah. So there's no law that says that I'm going to step in with the same side. I might step in, we might be here, and I might step in like this. I might not step in at all, right? So we're going to have him punch with the rear hand. That also keeps him a little bit more square for this follow-up move, so that I can drive straight into the solar plexus. Now, all of that being said, let's think about what we were doing a couple weeks ago. I already mentioned it. He throws his punch, we block, and then we move in and do shielding hammer. Well, I said we don't need to do that. We can strike here, right? We can simultaneously attack. We can turn our defense into an offense. If he's punching with this side, can I do the same thing? And it doesn't matter. It works either way. Can I do the same thing? Well, yes. I could actually step in and I could throw a punch to start, and then I could collapse this into my elbow. And by the way, if you play back the video in your mind and when it's on YouTube, you'll see that earlier on I said some people, I hope this is on video, I said that some people don't do a back fist for this technique, they actually do a back punch. Now we're just taking that strike and we're actually doing the version that I think most systems that I've seen actually perform it that way. So here, this again becomes secondary because I don't want to meet this punch. Now I know what you're saying. Well, I can cripple that arm. His momentum is only going to cause greater impact force, greater damage to his weapon, and it's going to take that weapon out of the fight. But here's the problem with that. What if you're fighting Godzilla, right? What if you're fighting King Kong, perhaps? Because Godzilla is a dinosaur, right? So probably that was not the good metaphor. Let's go with King Kong. Matt was like, wait a second, Sensei, I think you messed this up. So what if King Kong throws a punch at you, right? What if Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in? Are you going to want to block those punches like that? No. Now you're probably thinking, well, you're going to extremes. I am. To help you understand that those extremes exist, that there is a point where you don't want to be meeting force with force. The problem is, where do you define exactly where that point is? And what I'm telling you is you can eliminate that concern altogether in many instances if you're not waiting, if you're not dealing with this, and instead you're attacking right away. Okay? And then we move in with our follow-up. So I think that's going to be it for this technique. I'll let you work on that, and then we should have plenty of time, like I promised, to do some weapons work. I don't want to let you down. Go ahead.